Empress. I am the Empress. And today I have another episode of the Raw and Real Wednesday where I find a reel that's thought-provoking, controversial, crazy as fuck, and we have a conversation about it. A raw and real one. So y'all go check out this reel and I'll come back with a conversation. Okay.
Deep down in my heart, I'm ethnocentric, which means I think my race is the superior one.
Oh!
Wait, no, let me
Hey,
finish.
look. Hey, look. So, white is better than all.
No, let me finish. Let me
Go
finish.
ahead. Hey.
I think everybody thinks that, they're just not honest about
Hey,
it.
I'm not racist, though. I like all types of
Did
kinds.
I say I don't like people?
People only think
Wait,
that.
so you said you are what? You are
You
racist?
saying you're like...
You're
I think
racist?
everybody's a racist at that level.
No, you said you are racist.
I did. Yeah, I'm trying to be honest.
Yes, I'm racist.
So, all right. In this reel, we have a white teacher, and this teacher openly admits that he is a racist to these students, okay? Now, this is one of them moments where it's like, are you not smart enough to know when you should shut the fuck up? I mean, this is definitely one of them moments when it's like, bruh, what the fuck did you think was gonna happen when you're saying to your students that you're a racist and they have cameras on you and you see them with cameras? Like, I don't understand why racist white people still think that they can get a pass and get away with stuff openly. Racism is wrong. That's why it's smarter for you to do it in secret. You shouldn't do it at all, but you definitely should do it in secret. And also I want to say is kids these days, not just black kids, kids in general, are way further advanced than us as far as, you know, how they think about things and their views on the world and stuff. I didn't have views on the world when I was a kid. I was just a kid, but kids these days grow up super fast. They're exposed to way more things. And times are just different. So, you know, he tried to then clean it up and say, oh, I used to be that way. But you didn't used to be anything. When you were speaking on that, you were speaking in present tense. It wasn't past tense. And your kids obviously are smart. And one of those kids happened to be some famous person's son. So you really fucked up. And he got fired after that, from what I heard. It honestly reminds me of a story from my childhood. And I'm going to share it with y'all. So I went to a private Christian school up until the 8th grade because my mother and father were and are religious people. And that school originally had a high school on it, but because they didn't have enough people to enroll, they ended up just making it a middle school, so it only went up to 8th grade. So I remember, I believe it was my 8th grade year, I had this teacher named Mr. Rabel. Yeah, I'm dropping names. I don't give a fuck. I'm grown as fuck. Mr. Rabel was a tall white man, nice enough for a white man. And he was tasked with teaching us during Black History Month. Now, I had the privilege and the blessing of having two parents who understood that I wasn't getting Black history at school the way I should, so they taught me Black history at home. So I had a whole plethora of books and literature and just sources of knowledge as far as Africana studies and all that is concerned. So I knew my history, even in 7th, 8th grade. I think it was 7th or 8th grade. I can't remember exactly. So, you know, the whole slavery subject came up in history class. And to sum it up, Mr. Rabel basically said that the slaves really couldn't have been treated as badly as the history books say because then they wouldn't have been able to make money and pick cotton in the fields from sun up to sundown. So he felt as though the images that were portrayed of slavery were not as bad as what we saw. So at this point, my black spidey senses is popping off the roof, and I'm like, excuse me, that's not true. So he wanted to then go back and forth with me about my history. And being a kid with an adult, you know, there's only but so much stand you're going to take because you're a kid. And another black girl in the class, it's only me and one other black girl in the class. She's crying and upset and everything like that. And I'm crying and I'm mad and upset. And the day went on, right? I go home. And of course, because my parents always made sure we sit down at the dinner table and we get together as a family every day, the question of how was school today came up. So I proceeded to telling my father about the whole interaction with Mr. Raybould and Black History and what he said or whatever. And it was kind of like one of those moments where there's a soundtrack playing and then you hear something crazy and the soundtrack goes, he was like, wait, hold up. What did you just say? Tell me what happened in class. Now he put a defined ear on what I'm saying. And so back in them days, your parents had your teacher's personal phone numbers. It wasn't like, oh, I'm calling the school. It's like, I'm calling your teacher. So he told me to go in my room. Because whenever my dad was going to delve out some hell to somebody that deserved it, he didn't want me to be privy to it. But you know I was eavesdropping because I'm an ear hustler. I was ear hustler. So my dad calls Mr. Raybould and says, I spoke to my daughter and we need to meet tonight. And Mr. Raybould's like, well, I'm in the middle of dinner and my dad said, no, we are meeting tonight. And when my dad said some shit, my dad said some shit, okay? My dad ain't played no fucking games, all right? So apparently, my father met up with my teacher, and I was never told what was said, but apparently he had his own personal lesson in Black history, because the next day when I went to class, Mr. Raybould stood up in class and apologized to me and the other little black girl in class and explained that he was wrong for what he said and his information was inaccurate and incorrect. Okay. My dad didn't play no games. Okay, so y'all want to know where I get that from? A little bit of my dad, a little bit of my mama. Okay, neither one of them play games. But listen, all I can say is these kids these days have a lot more advantages over these teachers than what I did. But I had great parents. Good morning. Thank you. You too. Side note, you know I gotta pay the toll every morning when I go to work. And a lot of times these people be evil as hell in the morning. She happened to be really nice, so God bless her. I mean, I don't understand what you could be mad about sitting up in a booth collecting money all day. That's all you do, and you get paid a pretty nice wage to do it. I would take it. It's easier than what the fuck I do. Side note, I digress. Back to what I was saying. So, you know, this whole situation with these kids, it definitely brought to light how racism and racist people can just coast along in this world and never be caught and never be seen until they open up their mouths and reveal who they are. Parents, it is your job to educate your kids about who they are and their history, because then nobody else can lead them astray and have them out here looking like Boo Boo the Fool or having self-hate and not loving themselves. I never have lacked for love of myself, and I owe that to my parents. I have never lacked for love of my people, and I owe that to my parents. They instilled that in me at a very young age. Both of my parents were civil rights activists in their own right. My father was a Black Panther. So I had an interesting upbringing, but one that I'm grateful for, that formed me and who I am today. So, you know, I give a round of applause to these students that took that teacher to task, and especially the ones that pulled out the camera and started recording, because that ass is gone now. Go be ethnocentric and, you know, racist somewhere else. And if that's how you feel, and another note is, if that's how you feel, why are you teaching in a black school? Go to a white school. Let me guess, you couldn't get a job up in there. You wasn't qualified enough. So now you want to bring your ass to the school that's predominantly black and poison our young black children's minds. No, we're not doing that. The time for that is done, okay? Because it ain't the parents you got to worry about today. It's the students. Because these students ain't playing this, what is this, Gen Z or whatever the fuck? They don't play no games, okay? And they love everybody. Okay, I feel like racism is going to come close to dying with this generation because they love everybody. This is the most diverse and most all-inclusive generation we've had. So you can keep doing this antiquated racism shit if you want to. You end up getting your feelings hurt and getting fired from your job. Congratulations, you played yourself. And that's the raw and real. So if y'all like this show, y'all want to see more like it, go hit that like, share, and subscribe. Comment, share, all that helps my channel to grow. If you have a reel that you want me to talk about that you feel like would be interesting, send it to me. All my contact information will be at the end and also in the description. So have an awesome day. Bye. Thanks for watching. Your support is always appreciated. Don't forget to drop a comment, smash that like and subscribe, and then share. But if y'all want to show some support with them dollars though, throw your girl a Cash App on handle EmpressElite. You feel me? Until we meet again, you gonna take these kisses.